Hey everyone, welcome back to the weekly review for September 16th, 2020. So just a few updates here in world history, some things that I want you to know about. First of all, big update is that I am going to be updating the gradebook today. So those first 3 virtual lessons that we have and the parent letter, by the end of the day today, I'm going to put in all of those grades. So if they are completed, you'll get your 10 out of 10 points for each of those, and things will be looking good. If not, those will be put in as zeros, and so you'll start to kind of see a reflection of what your grade looks like so far in the class. As a reminder, if you complete the parent letter or if you bring it back in the future, that can always be turned in for full credit. So if you don't have that yet, not too much of a concern. I have extras if you need a new one, but just know that you can get a new one. The virtual assignments, though, we've had over a week now for some of those. If you don't have those done, they will only be accepted for half credit if they are turned in late. So keep that in mind that from here on out, virtual assignments are going to be graded much sooner after they are posted. So make sure you're getting those completed on the day that you're supposed to. So if you're a Monday student, make sure you're completing your Tuesday virtual assignment. If you're a Tuesday in-school student, make sure you're completing your Thursday virtual assignment. So keep those things in mind. So as a reminder there, I say don't fall behind, right? We don't want to have to do a bunch of lessons later and only get half credit for them, especially since the virtual lessons will build into what we're working on in class, and you want to make sure that you're up to date on that. So that's it for updates for the class here, so not a whole lot to talk about. So the rest of this video, we're going to be recapping our in-class lesson that we've had most recently. So if you missed it, this is a good chance to catch up, or if you just wanted a refresher, we're going to talk about Diocletian and the splitting of the Roman Empire. So we started by recapping the second virtual lesson that we had that was looking at some of the reasons that Rome was starting to face some problems. We have all of those great achievements that we covered, things like concrete that created the Colosseum and the Roman roads that connected the entire empire together, but not everything was perfect during this time period. So first of all, they were dealing with constant invasions from barbarian tribes. Some of those barbarian tribes' names will come up again here in the future. Tribes like the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths, who wanted to kind of take a piece back from the Roman Empire, as the Romans had taken the land that they had used to live on. So that kept them in war pretty much all of the time. Speaking of those foreign tribes, the Roman military was also trying to kind of bolster or increase their numbers a little bit, and so they started to hire some of these foreign tribes to fight in their military, and turns out as soon as they get the chance, they are going to turn on the Romans. So their military is not as strong as it once was, as they were kind of losing the loyalty of the Romans. Next is economic problems. So clearly they were spending a lot of money on war, and that left the government kind of scrounging for cash quite a bit. Increasing taxes. Most of those taxes ended up going on to the poor, which only increased the gaps between the rich and the poor. And as more people kind of fall into that latter category of being poor and not having enough money or food or shelter, we'll start to see them start to push back a little bit against the Roman government. And then poor leadership, just a series of bad emperors. Being Roman emperor at a certain point was kind of like a death sentence. You were in trouble because of the people that wanted to kind of take you out because they thought they could do a better job. And spoilers, they couldn't do a better job. So a series of poor leaders is going to kind of put Rome in a bad place. But in class, we focused on one main problem with this empire, and that was simply the fact that it had grown much too large to govern. So we have the city of Rome here in the Italian peninsula. Just one city controlling all of this area in just after year zero. This is in 117 AD. It's very, very difficult, right? So if you have invading tribes in the north and your military is elsewhere, it takes time for you to protect those areas. Simply messages traveling from one side of the empire to the other would take a long time. Making sure that all of the people within this empire are fed and happy and not trying to push back against the government. All of those things kind of compounded on each other. So really our main focus was that the empire got too large for them to control. So then we talked about some solutions to this problem. Diocletian is going to be the Roman emperor who is going to try and fix this problem. So the year is 285 CE when he tries to come up with some problems. In class, we came up with a few of our own, and we even got fairly close to the decision that Diocletian actually comes to in order to fix this declining empire. So what he decides to do is he decides to split it up into two sections. So we had the Eastern Empire and the Western Empire. Each would take turns hosting the true emperor, while the other side would have a co-emperor, which we also referred to as an Augustus. Then each emperor would take a Caesar, which would kind of work as a vice president in a way, kind of be the second in command to them. And that Caesar would be the heir or the next person to become emperor. So Diocletian realized that if he had more leadership, more people helping him out, that they could more easily respond to problems within the empire and hopefully manage to keep it all together. So then it came up Diocletian deciding which side he wanted to take. So the map looks like this. We had the Western Empire, which held the very important city of Rome. And then the Eastern Empire is going to set its capital at this city right here. It was called Byzantium when Diocletian took it, but it's going to be renamed in what we'll refer to it as Constantinople. So Constantinople is the capital of the Eastern Empire. And so what we're going to see is that the Eastern Empire is going to become much more rich and powerful than the West. Its location for trade made it easy to trade with Asian countries to the east. Places like China and modern-day India have lots of products that Europeans wanted. So we'll see more trade between those, and Constantinople is kind of the middle ground for that. So the split ends up not necessarily working out a whole lot for the city of Rome, at least, because as the East, so as the city of Constantinople starts to become much richer, we're going to see them almost stop caring about the Roman Empire, because in 410 in the video we watched and in 476 officially, the city of Rome gets attacked by those outside tribes and taken, and the East is going to be nowhere to be found in terms of helping them out. And so that is the reason we refer to the East today as a new empire called the Byzantine Empire. So that is a quick recap there of what we talked about in class. So moving on, we are going to be talking about the Byzantine Empire. We're going to talk about a guy named Justinian I, who is one of the more important leaders of the Byzantine Empire and what sorts of things he did as ruler of this new Roman Empire. And that's kind of where we're headed. So make sure we're finishing those virtual lessons. If you do have questions, please email me. I will be glad to help anyone out if you have problems. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later.